Hello and welcome back to the Bayta YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to talk you through my 7 steps for what I would do if I just saved up my first £1,000. So let's get straight into it. And the first thing you need to do before step number 1 is smash that subscribe button and like down below. And before I get into the specific steps, who is this video for? Well, I've kind of come at this from my own perspective as someone that's gone to university. I've had jobs beforehand growing up, part-time jobs. And so hopefully it could be for people, whether you're in a job now, looking to increase your income, or looking at how you're managing your finances better, or you've just come out of university and you've got your first graduate job and you've made those initial savings. Now, it's not going to be particularly helpful for people that are trying to get to that point where they're saving that first £1,000. I think that will come in a separate video. But once you've got that first £1,000, what are you going to do with it? And then what are the steps you're going to take afterwards in order to get on top of your finances so you feel more in control? So, step 1, you've got your first £1,000, what are you going to do with it? Well, the first step that I would suggest is saving up for a 2 to 3 month emergency fund. Now, this is to cover anything from you've got your job and let's say unexpectedly you lose it. And with coronavirus, a lot of people unfortunately have been in that scenario. We want to make sure that you've got 2 to 3 months comfortably that can cover your expenses. So if you do have an emergency or a boiler, breaks down, your car breaks down, different things happen in life, that you've got it covered and you don't have to worry about where the money's coming from or wait until next payday. I would say a great app for using this, especially from the UK, is downloading the free app Monzo. It's one of the new fintech banks that you can use, and there's a great feature on it called pots. Now, in these pots, you can separate out your main, your normal debit account and create separate side pots that you can deposit money and you can access at any point if you need it in the future. But I would recommend creating a pot, calling an emergency fund, and then putting that initial £1,000 towards your 2 to 3 months of expenses buffer. Now, these 2 to 3 months expenses really differ on the person, right? But really you want to think about your rent, your cost of travel to work, or any other sort of expenses that come out on a regular basis. And so Monzo, you can separate it out really easy and put it towards your emergency fund and have it there. And you can even set restrictions on it where you can lock it so you can't have access to it. So whenever you scan your card in Tesco or wherever you're shopping, it doesn't take from the account. Now, step 2, what would I do? I would look and see if I've got any outstanding debt, and that's excluding student debt here in the UK because it's slightly different structure to the US student debt. But I would take out any outstanding credit card loans or anything that you've purchased on finance and get rid of them as soon as possible. Now, the reason you want to do this is that each time that you have money coming in a month when you're paying your phone contract or you finance something that you've bought from a catalogue or somewhere, it's money that's coming out of your pocket that is a liability. It's something that is an expense to you each month and is going to take money out of your pocket. So once you've got that emergency fund sorted, you want to target your debts, and you want to target those debts and take them down before you even start to think about some of the later steps that I'm going to talk about with investing. And the last thing that I'll say, which is one of my favorite sayings, I'm really into hip hop, Jayz, if you can't pay for it twice, you don't have enough money to buy it in the first place. Now, step 3, what would I do? And this is assuming that you're being paid a regular income each month, at the end of each month, is make sure that you pay off your rent, any of your bills straight away. And once you've paid your rent and any of your bills, see how much money you've got left over and budget for what you think your expenses are for the month. And then whatever's left over is the amount that you want to commit to, that each month you want to commit to saving. For me, each month, as soon as my paycheck comes in, I go straight to my mobile app, onto my Barclays account, and I pay my rent, I pay all my bills, and then I also have a standing order for my investments that I set on the side. So I know how much money I've got to play with each month, and because my emergency fund is in a separate pot, I know exactly how much money I've got to budget for each month. And I think a second point to this is to really think about how far you can stretch that money that you're saving each month. Now, I'm not saying absolutely starve yourself and buy the most boring food and live in a horrible place. But what I'm saying is if you can think about where you can start to make some of those savings, do you need to have takeouts all the time each week? Can you be a bit more creative and start cooking? Here's a picture of my sushi that I made the other day, which was amazing and probably a tenth of the price that you pay for in an actual sushi place. But this is not to say, never eat out, never do things that you enjoy, but just see it in moderation. And if there's alternatives where you can still get the same satisfaction, but you can save some money on it as well. And to live a more healthier lifestyle. So have a look at this, make sure that you're auditing yourself regularly and see if there's any ways that you can creatively cut down your costs. And step number 4, I think this is one of the most important ones, is really understand the why behind your financial goals. And this extends to just more than financial goals, it's personal goals in life. you need to be very clear about the goal that you have and why you're saving this money. Otherwise, you're not going to be motivated in order to put money away each month and make those sacrifices. If you want to buy a house, then you need to think about the goals and the steps that you need to take to get there. So perhaps you want to take out a credit card and better your credit score. So when it comes to borrowing and putting your deposit down for a mortgage, you get a better variable rate. Or perhaps your longer term goal is actually to more travel around the world and live in different places. And so you want to build a sort of income and portfolio strategy where you can just have regular cash flow being paid out to you each month. So really think about your goals and what's going to drive you to really sacrifice and push yourself to save towards these goals. Because once you understand that why and that intrinsic motivation of, I really want to do this, then forming these habits and making these changes becomes a lot easier. Whereas if it's half-assed, you're not sure why you're doing it, you're just putting it away and you're not particularly motivated, then what's the point in saving in the first place? So really think about your why. What's going to keep you motivated? Do you want that satisfaction where you can get to the point and own your own first house and feel that sense of accomplishment? Really understand your why, do some introspection, take some time out, and then that will help you towards understanding what steps that you need to take beyond this point to then reach your goals. And number 5, I think this links very closely to number 4. Once you understand those goals, once you have that in place, then you need to be consistently investing or saving towards that goal. This is where the whole mantra of compound interest, which every sort of business person is talking about on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. Compound interest, this idea that the more you put in and the longer that you leave it over time, the higher returns you'll get in an exponential rate. And this goes for anything, not just money-wise, it goes into the skills that you're working on. Myself making YouTube videos, or whether you're learning how to program or you're doing a particular sport, the more time you put in, the more compound interest you get out in return. Now, number 6 is focusing on raising your income. You've identified your goals, you're consistently investing, but how can you get that compound interest rate to increase even more? Well, the quickest way is to focus on how you can raise your income. Of course, cutting expenses come into it, but at a certain point you can only cut away so much, and we still want, to live and enjoy the things. So how can you raise your income? Is there a particular role at your company that you could ask for and maybe switch positions? Or actually, job switching is probably the most profitable way and easiest way to add additional income. Typically, you're looking at around 3 to 5K on average in terms of a pay rise when you're swapping jobs in the same industry. And obviously this very much depends. You might be going to a completely different industry. Or perhaps it's not looking at other jobs, perhaps it's picking up a side hustle. Maybe it's looking at how to learn how to develop and build websites on the side, or starting an Etsy store and selling products. Before I sold Amazon products that I imported from China, I'd done all the branding and created a brand around fitness meal prep. So there's lots of different ways that you can look at increasing your income that's going to help you towards those goals which you're already motivated for because you really understand the why and you followed these steps accurately. And just lastly, on the topic of when you're looking to increase your income, is you want to think about low supply, high demand skills. So you're looking at things like software development or a particular tradesman or sales and project management. You want to find the areas where there is a low supply of people so that if you increase your skill sets just 10% or 20% above the average, then you can command a lot more money because you are more sought out after. You're more highly in demand. So number 6 really is all about improving yourself and seeing if there's skills that you can develop in order to better yourself only, personally and also financially. And number 7, this is the most important one, is don't forget to have fun along the way. Life isn't about scrimping and saving every single pound, every single penny. You want to enjoy your time and you want to enjoy the money that you can spend things on and with the people that you love. So really think about how you want to pass that on to others and the hard work that you give. Is there something philanthropic that you can do? Do you want to volunteer? Do you want to donate money? And so once you achieve these goals, what are you going to do that's going to bring that intrinsic happiness to you and to help others out the most? And I think that's really what drives me and why I'm so passionate about this topic, and that I want to be in this space of financial technology where I'm building products that really help people and help them towards these goals and live a better life. So these are my first 7 steps of what I would do have I just saved up my first £1,000. I'm going to leave some links below that will be helpful to you to talk about some of the apps that I mentioned in this video and some of the tools that I use to help me managing my finances. And optional step 8 is invest all your money in Bitcoin and hope that it goes to the moon. So that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe.